The News Hub here at Adisawe Kanda. I'm Natalie Ford.
My name is Alfred Okanse. Coming up with the bulletin tonight.
News 360 Headlines is brought to you by Deluxe Paint, Heaven Black Mosquito Coil and Spray,
Premier Health Insurance.
Government to list Consolidated Bank on the stock exchange in 2 years.
No permit for new concessions for Ghana Bauxite Company following general operation failures.
Fuel prices expected to remain unchanged in first pricing window of August.
NDC opens campaigning for flag bearership race on December 7th.
And in Zimbabwe, nation awaits results from heavily disputed presidential elections. Stay with us throughout the bulletin as we bring you the details of these stories and more news. As always, the bulletin is streaming live all across the world on 3news.com and TV3 Ghana on Facebook. In our very first story this evening, Consolidated Bank branches nationwide have opened for normal business after a takeover announced by the Bank of Ghana. The takeover caused a temporary closure earlier today.
Unibank and Royal Bank branches were closed this morning due to a consolidation of 5 banks announced by the Bank of Ghana yesterday. Clients were turned away earlier as a notice informed them to return at noon. TV3 can report that the affected banks opened 3 minutes after 1 o'clock. Crowds waited outside for hours before the banks opened. There was extra security as armed policemen joined regular security to ensure the crowd remained orderly. Clients were relieved when the banking halls finally let them in.
I was sent a message to probably get here by 1, so I was just delaying time to make sure it's 1 o'clock, then I come. I'm still a customer though, but the question is, if you take the money, if you withdraw all the money, where are you taking it to?
They have honored the check. Because of that, I'm not panic at all.
But they say they will come together, and after coming together, the name will be strong. Only the name will change.
Although some customers were able to access their accounts, many left the premises.
The queue is just too big. So I have now decided to come another day.
The development is coming in the wake of the Bank of Ghana's move to enforce strict banking regulations and sanitize the banking sector. Banks affected by the consolidation are Royal Bank, Beige Bank, Unibank, Sovereign Bank and Construction Bank. The 5 banks will now operate as the Consolidated Bank Ghana Limited. Noang Falong, TV3.
Now, checks are the main branches of the Construction Bank and the Sovereign Bank at Accra Central saw few customers trooping in to transact business. There was also less activity at these branches.
We began our checks in the morning when most customers were turned away by the huge notices at the entrance of both banks. The banks were closed to business, but workers were in the offices away from their duties.
Both banks have been closed. Some workers are inside Sovereign Bank, but for Construction Bank, the whole room seems empty in terms of the entrance. The teller seats are empty. And another thing we observed is that both ATMs are not working.
By 1 p.m., the Construction Bank and Sovereign Bank branches at the Central Business District were open, but still with less activity. Authorities of both banks declined to speak with the news team. The few customers we chanced on expressed satisfaction at the Central Bank's decision to merge the bank as the Consolidated Bank Ghana Limited.
I came to make a deposit. If it were belonging to maybe the individuals or the CEO or something, that one I'm not more sure. But now it belongs to the state, so I'm more assured that anytime I want to make a withdrawal or deposit, I'm secured.
My boss gave me a check this morning to withdraw 2,000 for some payment. But he was doubting whether this afternoon the bank will work. But I was surprised when I got here, everything is okay.
After pitching camp for hours here at the Octagon building, where you find the Construction Bank as well as the Sovereign Bank, one observation is clear, that the ATMs of both banks are not functional. In terms of customers trooping in, there's less activity here at the Construction Bank. But you can see one or two customers trooping at the Sovereign Bank, and for any enquiries or any information at all, you'll be directed to go to the Consolidated Bank Ghana Limited inside Airport City. That is the situational report here at the Octagon Building. Nanekia Mensa Brampa, TV3.
Now, the Spare Parts Dealers Association has commended the Bank of Ghana on its latest move to consolidate some 5 banks to form the Consolidated Bank Ghana Limited. The chairman of the association says they trust the central bank will protect their deposits.
5 banks, Unibank, Beige, Construction, Sovereign and Royal Banks were on August 1, 2018 consolidated to form the Consolidated Bank Ghana Limited. According to the Bank of Ghana, this is to put their resources together and make them a stronger entity. Speaking exclusively to 3FM Business at Abosokai in Accra, Chairman of the Spare Parts Dealers Association, Clement Boateng, says the move by the central bank is laudable.
The Bank of Ghana don't want to sit down where in a situation whereby the bank will collapse at all, and then people's investment will be affected. I think it's a step in the right direction. This governor is doing a marvelous job, and if they are able to reduce the number of banks in this country, I think it will go a long way to help us, those in the business industry.
He dismissed fears of his supposed weak banking sector, adding that they trust the central bank to sanitize the banking sector.
I don't think we have to entertain those fears, because from what we have heard, Bank of Ghana, after they have consolidated all those banks, Bank of Ghana has injected another money into the banks, so that will serve as a buffer for them. So I don't think there is need for anybody who's a customer of those banks to entertain any fears.
Meanwhile, at the time of the visit to the Abosokai branch of the Beige Bank, the bank was still preparing to serve customers.
That's how the situation looked at earlier in the day when these 5 banks, now Consolidated Bank Ghana Limited, opened their doors for operations. But in a related development, the head of Banking Supervision Department at the Bank of Ghana, Osei JC, has admitted that the Bank of Ghana cannot escape blame for the issuance of licenses to the 3 banks under fraudulent circumstances. Osei JC says the appropriate state agencies must take up the responsibility to prosecute. He was speaking to me in an earlier interview exclusively.
The Bank of Ghana said its investigations have revealed that the Beige Bank, Sovereign Bank and Construction Bank obtained their banking licenses illegally through the use of suspicious and non-existent capital. In an exclusive interview with TV3, the head of Banking Supervision Department at the Bank of Ghana, Osei JC, admitted the central bank cannot escape blame.
I appreciate the concern and the question you have asked. We are not really happy about the situation, but I think we have said it several times over and over that in time past we had some challenges. There was forbearance, maybe compromises here and there, but I think that we should focus on what is happening now, and we should be happy that the regulator did not sweep these matters under the packet, did not cover up, and action has been taken to address the issues. I'm not saying this to rationalize or justify what happened in time past. We regret, but the most important thing is that these issues are being addressed so that they do not recur. I wouldn't say that there was corruption, but there were some omissions and commissions and weaknesses which have resulted in what we are seeing now. That is how I would describe them.
The Bank of Ghana cannot be shouldered off responsibility of what's happening now. And indeed, some have called for the prosecution of some of the officials of the Bank of Ghana who presided over this whole process of issuing licenses to these 3 banks under these fraudulent means, as you said.
I've said over and over that I'm not a lawyer, but I don't think the Bank of Ghana has the mandate to prosecute. We have state institutions that have the responsibility to ensure that they enforce the law. What Bank of Ghana can do at this stage is to collaborate and to maybe provide the evidence available. So when it comes to prosecution, I think we have institutions that are responsible.
Now, still on this, the head of Banking Supervision Department at the Bank of Ghana, Osei Jesse, has revealed that government will list the consolidated bank on the Ghana Stock Exchange after 2 years of managing it. He said this in an exclusive interview with TV3.
What is the exit plan for government? Are they still going to stay in directly managing these banks? They're going to support these local banks?
I can speak to the Consolidated Bank Ghana Limited. What I know is that government intends staying there for 2 years. Then there's an exit strategy where the bank will be put on the stock market for Ghanaians to acquire shares in the bank.
It's more of this exclusive interview with the head of banking supervision at the Bank of Ghana in subsequent bulletins. But banking consultant Dr. Richmond Etuahene is urging the central bank to urgently prosecute shareholders, directors, and anyone who was involved in the collapse of the 5 banks. He said this while promoting and also the safety and soundness and stability of the financial sector the central bank is endeavoring to establish.
The Bank of Ghana on August 1 revoked the licenses of Unibank, the Royal Bank, Beige Bank, Sovereign Bank, and Construction Bank. The boards, directors, and shareholders of these banks no longer play any roles in the bank's operations. The central bank established a new indigenous bank called Consolidated Bank Ghana Limited, where assets and some selected liabilities of the collapsed banks were transferred to. Reacting to the developments in the banking sector, banking consultant Dr. Richmond Etuahene congratulated the governor of the Bank of Ghana for his bold move in ensuring a strong and stable banking sector. But he, however, urged the regulator to be swift in prosecuting those found culpable in the collapse of the banks.
We should not delay. The more we delay, the more we water it down. The action must be swift to get all these corporates who are found culpable face the full law, and let the law exonerate them or let the law find them guilty. There was a man in the 80s who collapsed BAC and construction banks. Sooner than later, he was given a license to run a savings and loans company. In this country, shareholders, directors, senior management team, and possibly those who issue the license.
He said the officials of the central bank must be up and coming in their supervision.
If you receive a suspicious capital, and you don't verify a suspicious capital to find it's not capital, then what work are you saying? And people are paid to do nothing, and they have fantastic packages. I've never seen any jurisdiction that people have fantastic rewards, various cars. So what job have they done to deserve going home with these packages?
He cited Nigeria when it undertook a similar exercise in its banking sector.
Nigeria, the managing director and the owner of Oceanic Bank, he was sentenced to prison for 4 years for the same crime being committed, especially connected lending. How can one person, if related lending costs are 75% of our 3-point-something billion?
So more on the Consolidated Bank, and as we know, government has set aside 450 million Ghana cedis as starting capital for the running of the Consolidated Bank, taking over these 5 distressed banks. And obviously improving their operations include a new management. And the CEO of the Consolidated Bank Ghana Limited is in the person of Daniel Wilson Addo, and this is his profile. He's a former Deputy Managing Director of United Bank for Africa, that is, former Managing Director of UBA in Tanzania, former Executive Director of the First Atlantic Bank. He's a chartered accountant with 17 years post-qualification experience. Daniel Addo is also a former member of the Technical and Research Committee of the Institute of Chartered Accountants Ghana and a member of the ICA Task Force on Convergence into International Financial Reporting System. Daniel holds an MBA in Finance from the Manchester Business School. Now, this is the man who's going to be heading the affairs of the Consolidated Bank, supported by a team, of course. And as we know, the bank is set to be being listed on the stock exchange the next 2 years. We'll definitely be monitoring the operations of this bank and see how everything pans out. Alfred?
Certainly, Natalie. Now, government, through the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, says it will not grant the company a permit for new concessions. The sector minister explained the measure is due to numerous anomalies regarding operations of the Ghana Bauxite Company. Catherine Frimpoma has been with the minister and brings us updates on the situation.
The Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, John Peter Amewu, visited the Ghana Bauxite Company in Awasu in the Western region following recent reports of non-tax compliance, mismanagement and general operational failures.
For the past 10 years, 2010 to date, except in 2015, when you made a profit of just a little less than 40,000, if I'm right, you'll be running losses. Your books clearly have indicated that. And in 2017, you've increased your production target by 156%, whilst you are making loss. An ongoing business interested in making loss and increasing production target. It's so funny to me. What is the driving motive for you for increasing your production?
Ghana government owns 20% shares of the company, while Bauxite Minerals Group, based in China, controls 80%. Bauxite Minerals Group is a member of a Chinese conglomerate who took over from Rio Tinto Alcan in 2010 because they were making losses. The company, according to managers, have increased production from below 500,000 metric tons per year to over 1.5 million metric tons of bauxite in 2017. However, business gains have not corresponded with these production gains as the company has failed to declare profit for 4 years.
We have not been very happy for your operations over this time. I'm waiting for your 2017 financial statement and we're going to advise ourselves. There are clear mandates in terms of what to do, both the company and then also the government in terms of termination clauses or cancellations of leases. They are clear. If for some reasons you will continue to operate this way, then of course I'm afraid government will have to advise itself.
The company is currently mining in the Ncheneso Reserve, which has 6 million tons of bauxite deposit remaining, estimated to be depleted in the next 4 years. The company's mining lease will be expiring around the same time in 2022. It has therefore applied for lease for new concessions within the Efumba and Bukakiri reserves. They also want forest entry permits, environmental permits and mining operating permits to start mining the Subri Reserve, for which they already has lease. But the minister did not mince words. These permits would not be considered.
What is driving you to increase production? Where we're sitting currently is a hill. You start with the necessary permit. Of course, that I can tell you will not be granted. I must be frank with you.
Now, mining companies would soon be required to have refineries to add value to minerals before exports. The Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, John Peter Amewu, says bauxite and other minerals will no longer be allowed out of the country in its raw form. Catherine Frimpoma has the following report.
Yeah, we have extensive reserves that will enable, creations and formations of refinery. So I think we will call on companies that are interested to begin to talk to the government and see how we can establish a refinery that, of course, will benefit both the company, and then the Ghanaians as a general, rather than taking it out of its current raw stage. So the way forward is going into refinery.
Mining is one of the largest economic activities in Ghana apart from farming. Though Ghana is a leading bauxite producer, most bauxite companies export the raw material, which negatively impacts on the country's economy. A recent study into the mining of bauxite in Ghana recommended no government policy that makes it mandatory for foreign companies that mine the resource to establish a refinery plant. Most of the companies came with the promise of establishing a bauxite refinery plant in the country, but ended up exporting the raw product to their refinery plants abroad to the detriment of the local economy. The Ghana Bauxite Company, for instance, exports raw bauxite to its sister company in China after crushing and washing. The natural resource is sometimes exported in its raw form, as being done behind me, without any form of value addition. So changing the government of Ghana in terms of revenue, something the minister has vowed to fight against.
The signal is clear to this company that from that date, within a period of about 5 years, we're not going to allow raw bauxite in its current form to be taken out of this country. So we are concerned about some of the rules and then regulations that have been flouted by some of this concern.
It is high time government enforced some of these measures if Ghana is to make any meaningful gains from its natural resources. Catherine Frimpong.
Let's go for our citizen journalist in an MTN video report tonight.
This is part of the Eastern Corridor stretch that connects Bimbilla and Yenti. This deep gutter has been caused by running water over the years, and it is now a death trap for both motorists and pedestrians that ply this route. So far, about 4 motorbikes have fallen into this gutter, causing severe injury to the victims. Right in front of me is an electric pole, which is on the verge of being washed down by running water. The residents of Pusuga are therefore calling on the government and other stakeholders to address this problem before it gets out of hand. I am Yakubu Mohammed Hashim.
And these are stories we'll keep following to get results for these communities suffering from such situations. You can also send your video report via WhatsApp number 055-1433-044, 055-1433-044.
You're watching News 360. We've got all the news, some more news that is, from the world of business coming up shortly. Stay with us.
Thanks for staying with us. Good evening. Time for business. My name is Nanekia Mensa Brampa. Still some more business stories tonight, talking about fuel prices. And prices of fuel are expected to remain unchanged for the first pricing window of August. Now, this is according to the Institute of Energy Security, that is IES. And the Institute is in the last pricing window in July predicted a stability in the price of fuel. IES is, however, attributing the stability to the marginal reduction in Brent crude oil from a previous average rate of $77.50 per barrel to a current average price of $73.62 per barrel. From July 2nd window throughout to this August window, prices of finished products of the international markets benchmark the assessment of finished products. Now, research analyst at the IES, Migdad Mohammed, says after computation and analysis, prices on the market should have gone down because the cedi has been relatively stable with just a marginal depreciation of less than 0.7%. And the CEO of the Ghana Investments Promotion Center Yofi Grant wants more Ghanaian entrepreneurs to partake in the upcoming Africa-Singapore Business Forum in Singapore. The forum, which serves as a platform for promoting business exchange and thought leadership between Africa and Asia, brings together business and government leaders from 30 countries to develop partnerships.
Ghana and Singapore have enjoyed good bilateral relations for many years. Officials from the two countries continue to cooperate in many areas of mutual benefit, including capacity building and training, education and economic policy making. In 2010, trade between the two countries hit an all-time high, crossing the $1 billion mark following the delivery of the FPSO Kwame Nkrumah to aid oil production in the Jubilee field. The Africa-Singapore Business Forum, ASBF, is the premier platform for promoting business exchange and thought leadership between Africa and Asia.
At the end of the day, because of global dynamics, and a lot of countries now looking inward, the interesting thing about Asia is that now they are looking outward. They are looking for opportunities elsewhere. And Africa Africa is resource rich. So everybody is looking at Africa and says, how do we then also secure and guarantee our resources? Or how do we work in partnership with the individual countries to be able to exploit and bring about a better trade world?
As at the end of March 2018, the GIPC has registered 42 projects from Singapore with an estimated foreign direct investment value of over $1.5 billion.
The Ghanaian businesses must go there because the Singapore investors, Singapore businessmen, they have a lot of opportunities, especially in the backyard. Cambodia, Vietnam, Philippines, Malaysia, Indonesia. Why they must go all the way to Africa? Where's Africa? They don't know. But if the Ghanaians come, okay, they can see and they can meet, and that's where businesses are struck.
The Africa-Singapore Business Forum is scheduled to take place from the 28th to 29th August 2018 in Singapore.
Well, look at some international business news, and Apple has become the world's first public company to be worth $1 trillion on Thursday. That is $1 trillion. And the iPhone maker's market capitalization reached the figure in afternoon trading in New York as its shares rose above $207. Now, the stock has risen about 9% since Tuesday when it reported better than expected results for the 3 months to June. Apple's stock has risen more than 50,000% since it's first listed in 1980. Now, that compares with a mere 2,000% rise from the 500 SP in the same period. So that is the impact there on the foreign fund. But I don't know how it will be with us here in Africa. But let's move away from international business back home again, and let's talk about Ghana's leading mobile telecommunications company, MTN Ghana, having launched the 2018 Mobile Money Month campaign on the benefits of the service and drive financial inclusion, dubbed Momo Month. The 9th edition of the campaign would be celebrated till the end of October 31 with loads of activities and prizes to be won. And well, we'll be bringing you that story in a few minutes, but well, that is the new experience from MTN. I'm sure you've heard of their Momo, and this is what we should be expecting for the month of October. That is, it's going to run from now till the end of October 31.
In the central region, and it's under the theme Digitizing Payment in Ghana, the Role of Mobile Money. MTN has dedicated the month of August to create awareness on the importance of mobile money within the financial ecosystem.
I want to declare the 2018 MTN Mobile Money Month duly launched.
Unlike the previous editions, where it ended after a month, the 2018 campaign will be celebrated till October 31. The Mobile Money Month affords the company the opportunity to engage with clients for direct feedback MTN Ghana was first to launch the mobile money service in Ghana in 2009 and has since seen a massive progress with over 9 million active mobile money subscribers, 100,000 agents, over 50,000 merchants nationwide, and 17 partner banks. General Manager, Mobile Financial Services at MTN, Eli Hine, maintained MTN is well positioned to lead the digital agenda for all forms of payment in Ghana. Eli Hine underscored the benefits of using the mobile money service.
We believe it's the safest way to transact. It also saves the country the hassle of printing of currency because we know it's very expensive. And all the crimes that are associated with cash, it helps to eliminate that. And for business efficiency, beyond everything else, our businesses are more efficient and people are able to do their business seamlessly. Because today, we are able to link your wallet to your bank account.
During the 3-month period, transactions with mobile money would earn you points, which could win you prizes such as iPhones, flat screen televisions, and more at the end of every month. But Eli Hine urged MTN mobile money users to be wary of fraudsters.
In our promo, there is no promotion code. We will not send you an SMS. When you do your transaction, you earn your points. And when you earn your points, we advise you. And when you win, we will call you. And we'll call you with 0244 300,000. That's the only number we use to call you. And we'll tell you what you have won. And we'll ask you to come to the MTN office or any of our branches to come and collect your prize.
Activities lined up for the 3-month-long celebration includes stakeholder engagement, customer promotions, as well as merchant and agent forum.
All right, so watch out for those fraudsters, by the way. So that's how we wrap up for business tonight. My name is Nanikia Mensah Brampan. Let's talk politics now. Alfred is standing by.
Thank you, Nanikia. iPhone. New users of iPhone very happy about that, Nanikia. Thank you. The General Secretary of the opposition NDC, Johnson Isiru Nketia, says the endorsement of former President John Dramani Mahama by some members of the minority in Parliament does not violate any provision of the party's constitution. Speaking at a news conference at the party's headquarters in Accra, the General Secretary insisted the only time the constitution is breached is when the minority caucus in Parliament endorses a candidate as against the others. Here's a report by Godfrey Tanam.
If I heard them well, they never declared the support of the parliamentary caucus. The parliamentary caucus is the structure of the party in Parliament. But individuals can declare their support one way or the other. Much the same way, we, apart from the parliamentary caucus, we have a women's wing, for instance. It will be offensive for anybody to declare that the women's wing of NDC supports candidate A or B.
Johnson Isiru Nketia officially opened campaigning for the various aspirants contesting the flag bearership race. He insisted no leader at any level has the power to use the structures of the party to support any candidate.
Individuals want to declare their support for one candidate or the other. We don't have any issue with that. In other words, whilst it is totally permissible for a constituency chairman to declare that I support candidate A or B, it will be offensive to our rules to declare that this particular constituency, Fantiakwa constituency or Ayensuanu constituency, has declared our support for one particular candidate.
He cautioned the various aspirants to be decorous in their campaigning, devoid of attacks to avert any sanctions, and warned against flamboyant campaign.
Now that we have officially opened the campaign, we will be monitoring, and we want to caution all those persons who want to lead this party to conduct a campaign that is decent, that is decorous in terms of the choice of language, and that is devoid of personal attacks. We would want to hear your vision and mission about your proposed leadership.
He called on aspirants to notify the National Executive Committee before embarking on any campaign to avoid individuals using the name of the party for their personal gains. He took the opportunity to announce the postponement of the regional elections from August 25 to September 1 this year. The party has therefore scheduled the election to select a leader for the 2020 elections to December 7.
Let's now turn to education, as the Minister for Gender and Social Protection, Otiko Jaba, says the drive for full implementation of inclusive education is long overdue. She acknowledged it's an unfortunate situation to have disabled persons looked down upon and not given equal opportunities in the 21st century, and urged all to implement the policy as a legacy for the next generation. Otiko Jaba spoke at a stakeholders forum organized by Media General in collaboration with the Ghana National Education Campaign Coalition.
People with disability form more than 10% of the Ghanaian population. Their representation is limited, largely because of lack of education. The existence of laws to protect persons with disability and policies to drive inclusion, especially in the education sector, though yielding results, are still abysmal. According to a UN report, some 16,000 children are unable to access school education as a result of one form of disability or the other. To further raise awareness and advocate for a full implementation for inclusive education, Media General, in collaboration with the Ghana National Education Campaign Coalition, organized a stakeholders forum. Under the theme, Inclusive Education, Time for Full Implementation, 3 speakers with other stakeholders sought to discuss the way forward. The Minister for Gender and Social Protection said the time for full implementation was now. She said 7 regions, 20 districts and over 18,000 persons living with disability were benefiting from the pilot inclusive education policy program. She urged that the opportunity provided by the existence of requisite laws, policies and frameworks be taken advantage of to create a legacy for the future generation.
The time for talking is over. The time for action is now.
Professor Samuel Hayford, the Dean of the Faculty of Educational Studies at the University of Education, Winneba, said there was no excuse for failing to enroll persons living with disability in school.
We have standards for implementing the policy. And if for 2-3 years we haven't started, then why are we here?
A passionate educationist on the issues of the disabled bemoaned the high levels of lack of information amongst various communities on the policy document.
Chiefs, then religious leaders, presiding members of the assemblies, PTA chairmen or executives, and out of the 9 focus groups, in only one community did we have somebody telling us that they are aware of this policy.
The Executive Council Chair for the Ghana National Education Campaign Coalition, Bright Appiah, bemoaned the lack of support for children with disability.
The issues with disability has a cultural factors such as stigmatization, labeling of persons with disability, inadequate assessment centers, lack of cooperation of guardians and parents of children with disability to take action to support their children who have disabilities, and in some cases hide them from public knowledge.
The call for action and commitment to making inclusive education a reality and promises of its possible achievement is questioned by the lack of evidence to support preparedness.
Now, A1 Bakery has donated an undisclosed sum of money to 3 foundations to support the Think Heart Save a Child campaign. The foundation, the social support wing of Media General, owners of TV3 Network, MG Radio Limited and MG Digital, focuses on seeking help for children with complex medical conditions.
A1 Bakery has reacted to supporting the cause of TV3 Corporate Social Responsibility Initiative, an initiative that seeks to support children suffering from hole in heart. The company donated an undisclosed amount of money to 3 foundations to support its Think Heart Save a Child campaign. In addition, A1 Bakery donated loaves of bread to staff of 3 Foundation for their efforts at touching the lives of persons suffering from hole in heart. The VP marketing partner of A1 Bakery, Nana Pokosei, said they have been monitoring the ongoing campaign and decided to support it.
We just joined. We will be doing more. It's just the beginning of a very long relationship, being part of your foundations.
The CEO of 3 Foundation, Richard Ahiagbele, called on all stakeholders to support the cause.
Every little counts towards raising enough funds to support these young children with hole in heart. So we are extremely grateful to A1 Bread. I want to use this to also appeal to every well-meaning organization out there to come and support.
He said 3 Foundation has successfully organized activities in aid of 2 hole in heart patients and look forward to saving more lives.
Now, we thank A1 Bakery for the support. Remember that you can also support the activities of the 3 Foundation by visiting TV3 premises or paying into our foundation account, which is with Zenith Bank. We're so grateful to A1 Bakery for that. You're watching News 360. We've got some sports news coming up with Thierry Nan shortly. Stay with us.
So tonight we focus on the movie industry and some update on Demi. Ghanaian filmmakers have contributed a lot to the growth of entertainment industry. The efforts and works need to be remembered and appreciated always. Today we'll look at 3 spectacular Ghanaian movies that can still be enjoyed today.
Movies have played an integral role in the arts and entertainment industry over the years. A film industry capable of making black movies is highly respected and rated by authorities of film studies. As part of our Throwback Thursday feature, we present to you iconic movie, I Told You So. I Told You So has succeeded in claiming a top spot on the list of the most memorable pieces of artistic work created in Ghana. Today, when Bob Cole is mentioned, we remember this scene.
Oh yeah, this machine went out for some close to school, and when he shouted, oh yeah, people start to laugh at it.
One of his many. When Araba Stamp is mentioned, I Told You So also comes to mind. Today's filmmakers can emulate the success of I Told You So. It is just a matter of going back to the basics. In a recent advice from George Lucas, creator and director of Star Wars franchise, to young filmmakers, Lucas stressed the basics of filmmaking has not changed. Only the technology has. Love Brewed in the African Pot is a Ghanaian classic film released in the early 80s. This film highlights the African heritage in its purest form. It gained immediate popularity and was critically acclaimed throughout English-speaking African countries.
Let's make Abba a tired wife.
Oh, Joe. Hold my hand, Joe. I feel so happy when you're around.
Babina. If you were a kid in the year 2000, you dare not watch Babina due to its scary scenes.
Come forward, my daughter, and present your item.
This particular movie brought out the star in Kalsum Sinari. It also featured Emmanuel Ama, Becky Perkins, Helen Omabo, Nisaka Brown, Nana Bambuache, and Prince Yosin. If you really want to go back to the olden days when movies were the real deal, do not hesitate to settle for any of these.
Oh yeah, this machine went out for some.
And away from music, Demi Lovato is doing a lot better, and the plan is for her to get out of hospital this week. But she's faced with a decision to go to rehab or lose a lot of people close to her. The Sorry Not Sorry composer has been stabilized after she overdosed last week. Her team are now preparing to send her to rehab. The decision is ultimately Demi's and the people close to her, along with some of the people who work for her. However, some of her staff have threatened to discontinue working for her if the singer doesn't go for further treatment. At least one key person who works for Demi said they will quit if she doesn't check herself in. Everyone around her who was nervous now believe, however, that the drug overdose and the subsequent complications in hospital have sufficiently scared her enough, and she'll go to a live-in facility for extended treatment. Well, that's about it for entertainment news tonight. There's more news on 3news.com. My name is Miriam Osei Ajiman.
Thank you, Miriam. Yeah, what are you going to say?
What was I going to say, Alfred?
It's nice to know that she's out of danger, definitely.
Demi Lovato?
Yes, exactly.
Oh, yes,
who's she anyway?
Oh, Alfred.
I don't
She's
know.
a musician.
I'm just asking.
Alfred, a concert.
But we want to thank you so much on behalf of the rest of the team tonight here on News 360. My name is Alfred Okansi.
I'm Natalie Force. Visit our website. It's 3news.com for some more news. News at 10 will simulcast on 3FM 92.7. Thanks a lot for watching. Have an incredible evening.
Well, you hope.